My name is Andrew Harris.
My name is Eitan Chervony.
I'm Andrew Sanders.
My name is Reed Beishir.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Tepetate.
My name's Darian Wright. I play the baritone, and I'm a 2025 age out.
So I always had a kind of an ear for music. Growing up, I was introduced to a lot of these old DVDs called Baby Einstein DVDs, and it was great. But that got me into like Bach and stuff, like really young. And so I'd been listening to like music and like classical music for a really long time. And so by the time I got to middle school, my dad sat me down and he said, okay, you have 4 choices. You can play saxophone, trumpet, trombone, or drums. And so I sat down and I said, okay, cool, I'm gonna play the saxophone. And I ended up playing saxophone from 6th grade up until my sophomore year of high school. And that is when I was introduced to drum corps. And we were sent out to the field and they said, hey, there's this group here that is rehearsing and we want you to go out there and check them out and learn a few things. So we go out there and I was blown away. I didn't even know that the marching arts could get this intense. I didn't know that there was this next level of performance, and I looked at that and I said, I want to do that. So I'm looking at it, I'm researching everything, and I realized that I play the saxophone. So I sit down and I'm like, well, trumpet, trombone, saxophone, or percussion. We'll do trumpet. I'll try trumpet. So I buy a trumpet and then COVID hits. And so the whole time I'm sat down in my room with nothing but myself and a trumpet. And I look up all these videos on how to play trumpet, how to get into drum corps. And I just reps over and over and over again. And I recorded myself and I'd listened to myself. And I went back to high school and I auditioned for our indoor winds group on trumpet. And I remember our brass caption head said to me that no matter how hard I tried, I would never get into a world-class group on trumpet. I remember being in the car and I called my dad and I was crying because my dreams had just been crushed. I just spent all this time learning this new instrument. And my dad, he sat me down and he said, if somebody tells you you can't do something, you do it even harder. So I signed up for private lessons. I worked my butt off on trumpet. I ended up joining all the concert ensembles that I could, doing independent work with other groups, and by the time I am now 21, I decided that I would finally audition for a world-class drum corps. My buddy Will had reached out to me and he said, hey, I know that you're a trumpet player, we're looking for some lead trumpet spots. And I said, oh, I'll go ahead and send him to tape, like it doesn't matter, we'll do that. And I ended up getting a contract, and now I'm here.
I originally started by playing trumpet in 3rd grade. Didn't work super well with me, and I eventually switched over to percussion. Didn't really have any idea what drum corps was until probably high school, and I kind of just went through it. I grew up with 4 brothers that all did marching band, and it was kind of a rule for us that we had to go through high school band. And at some point we had a tuba player, Jeremiah Moya, who played tuba for our high school, and at the time he was marching DCA, which now is all age. And I was really curious because, at the time I wasn't really sure if I was going to continue band, and he kind of introduced it to me, just saying like, hey, if you want, just come out to an audition, just see how it goes. And I was like, sure, why not? And that kind of spiraled into me being very curious to know what the activity was and what else there was down that drum corps rabbit hole. And ultimately, I went from doing like front ensemble to giving a shot bass drum. And through that, I marched 3 seasons with the Sunrisers. And then after COVID happened, kind of took a little bit of a hiatus from marching. Wasn't sure if I was going to continue. And then I went to Syracuse University and met Heath Miller, who was a tuba player in 2022. And he initially sparked my inspiration to audition again in 2023, which originally was with the Academy. And then after that, I just took a shot and I went out for my first Cavaliers audition in 24 and got the spot. And I'm still shocked by it today, but I'm very grateful that I was able to do that. And that kind of brought me into where I am now, marching this year. I marched 3 seasons of indoor with United Percussion, and I'm just very grateful for that.
I didn't really get into music until very recently in my life. I didn't listen to music. I would only hear it in passing. but my brother was a percussionist, and I thought to myself, I want to play an instrument. So I auditioned, I tried to make sounds on everything, I couldn't make sounds on anything, and they go, oh, you're his brother, you can play percussion. So I ended up in percussion. And I pretty much immediately started to find a love for it. Not as much in drumming, but I found keyboard instruments really interesting because I was like, oh, xylophone isn't the only acoustic keyboard. I want to try other things. But in terms of marching experience, I did not know about DCI until 2018, where our percussion director decided to take us to DCI Denton. And that's where I saw the Cavaliers for the first time. And that was a crazy experience. I never thought I'd see xylophones marching on a field in today's day and age, and I saw it. And that changed my life from that day. I would look at videos of the Cavaliers, try to play like them, try to sound like them, try to look like them. But I always told myself, even if you want to be there, you're not going to get to that point with your current skill sets. Until somebody told me, hey, try to audition. Show up to an audition, you'll learn something. You could probably be a Cavalier. You look like a Cavalier. So I decided to give it a try.
It's a very bittersweet feeling being an age out, because while I'm very excited that I get to finish off my marching career and open up a new chapter in my life, there's been a lot of great memories that I've made here. I would say that the Cavaliers, when I first came in, changed me for the better. I was very sheltered and shy when I came here, and I found my true self and came to love and accept myself because of all the people around me that encouraged me to be myself. And I felt love from various members within the Corps that have shaped my experience and how I treat others now because of the brotherhood that they demonstrated to me during my first year. But at the other hand, I'm very glad, as for example, I'm in a 5-year relationship with my girlfriend, future fiance, and almost a year of that relationship has been spent doing drum corps, which has made our relationship stronger, but nonetheless is not easy. So I will be incredibly glad to age out because I get to move on to a new part of my life. But the Cavaliers truly hold a special place in my heart because of the brotherhood.
It's sometimes really hard to process that it's my last season because it's like I don't want to accept it. But at the end of the day, it's something that I'm really proud to have done, that I have no regrets of doing this activity that I love.
A big part of me is very relieved that this is over. I always joke that, you know, I don't really like doing drum corps that much. I only stay around because I love being a Cavalier. And knowing that I get to give everything I have one last time with a show that I'm proud of, with brothers that I'm proud of, and that after this, I'm not going to stop being a Cavalier. I will continue to be a Cavalier even after I age out. That's all that matters to me.
Being a part of the Cavaliers percussion section, we have a huge trend of believing in excellence and just perfection with everything we do. And I feel like that really transfers over to everything we do in day-to-day life. Before marching drum corps, I was kind of just going through the motions, and now being a part of this for my second year now, I feel like I've approached everything in a very different, very like chin-up kind of manner, where I just want to make sure that whatever I am doing career-wise, academics, that I'm not letting a second of effort go and just making sure that I'm striving for that perfection in a way. So,
for drum corps, it's a lot less about what you're playing and more about what you're learning as you go on. There's so many experiences that'll put you under high pressure or interactions with people that you may have never had in just day-to-day life. I consider myself to be an introvert. Drum corps makes me feel like I can be an extrovert. It makes me feel like I can talk to people, have actual conversations, not shy away from meeting somebody new. So this activity has really shaped who I am today in ways that I never thought I could get to.
Drum corps has changed my mindset and how I approach life because of all the small details that drum corps requires you to focus on. I have been able to apply that to my life. And so looking at those small details, it's hard to ignore even when I go do not drum corps. As well as pushing through these obstacles. Minor inconveniences don't bother me. They just kind of roll off my shoulders now. But back home, while other people who may not drum corps will be affected by that because of drum corps and how much we have to change things and move past things on a whim, both logistically and within our show, I've been able to just kind of deal with them.
My advice for you guys is to keep having fun. Drum corps is such a unique experience that it's crazy to not have fun with it. This is so silly that we run around on a football field wearing harnesses and playing brass instruments and going crazy on the keys and tossing things in the air and catching them, that you just have to have fun with it. You have to own it and live it and always make sure that no matter what you're doing, have fun and have a smile at the end of it all. Things are gonna get hard, make it fun. Always, 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 always try your best to keep it fun.
Never take any moment for granted. Get to know your fellow brothers, because at the end of the day, they will be some of your greatest friends, people who you can rely on while at the corps or even in real life. And to always give it your all, because at the end of the day, you're gonna stop doing this activity and you'll always look back at every memory and enjoy everything that you've done so far and be proud of yourself with everything that you've accomplished.
Now more than ever, I think it's the time to start thinking about those vets and those age-outs who helped you get through the hard times in your summer or helped encourage you to become a Cavalier or get through the Cavalier process. To look at them and see what they did for you and ask yourself how you can step up and be that for the next generation of Cavaliers. Because, I mean, once I'm gone, I have no more control over what happens in this corps. And it will be up to you guys to be the Cavaliers that people want to be.